I would like to analyze and interpret Raymond Carver's Why Don't You Dance, and I would like to start off by giving a summary of the text. So the story is about an older man who have, for some weird reason, placed all of his furniture outside on his lawn, and by doing so is having some kind of a yard sale. But the weird part is not just that he placed his furniture out on his lawn, it's also that it is arranged specifically like it used to inside the house, and even things like the television has been plugged in and are actually usable like they used to be inside the house. So as the man is inside the house, we actually hear about some kind of a woman who used to be there. The text says, except for that, things looked much the way they had in the bedroom. Nightstand and reading lamp on his side of the bed, nightstand and reading lamp on her side. So we already get a hint that there has been someone. So he then goes down to the local shop. So then the story actually shifts over to a young couple who arrives at the yard sale and knocks on the door, sees if anyone is actually home, but no one is. So the couple lays down on the bed and talks about doing naughty stuff on the bed. But as they do so, the man returns and he doesn't seem mad or anything. He just says, so you found the bed. That's good. So he then invites them to a drink, and they all get wasted. And so the boy or the girl wants to dance, but her boyfriend doesn't seem to be so fond of the idea. So she ends up dancing with the older man. And at the end of the text, we actually hear more about the girl, and she talks about this situation, and she keeps feeling like there was something more to it, but people won't listen, and she seems to actually be somewhat irritated that no one actually wants to listen. And the text says that she keeps talking about it for weeks. She told everyone and that there was more to it, and she was trying to get it talked out, but after some time she quit trying. So, to first off get into the symbolism of the furniture and maybe even to get into the meaning of the actual title, we return to the dance scene where the older man actually decides to dance with the younger girl. Now, this might also tell us something about his prior relationship. Whether his wife actually left him or she died, we actually don't know. But there is something about the way that he dances with the other girl and the way that he actually has put all of his furniture outside that might tell us that he actually wants to get rid of his stuff and he wants to forget his prior relationship. He wants to get rid of everything that reminds him of her. But this might, of course, also be the cause of a death. So the wife might actually have died and he just wants to get rid of all stuff that reminded him of her. Which also leads us into the symbolism of the empty house, which might be his heart that is now empty because all the furniture, which is linked to the love of his life, is now gone from the house itself. So the house is empty, just like his heart. But it might also just be that he hated his relationship, and it might have been some way to counteract the gossip about their breakup. And by counteracting, I mean that he just puts everything out into the public, plays with all of his cards open, don't care what everyone else thinks. He just wants to get rid of the stuff, show the world that he doesn't actually care. So this also happens when we discuss the actual bed, and of course the record player itself. So the bed he actually talks about 2 times. First, when he meets them for the first time, when he sees them, he says that it is good that they found the bed, which might indicate either that he actually has some feelings for the bed, or that he just really wants to get rid of it because that is where he used to sleep with his wife every single night. Now, to get back to the record player, that is what actually starts everything. It's in the title, and it's a big part of the actual story, and the young couple actually ends up getting the record player. So the record player is of course what leads to the whole dancing, and the dancing might mean something to the man. It might have been something he used to do with his wife, which he actually really loved, or it might just be that this young couple actually reminds him of himself and his former wife when they were young. So to be in this moment and to be living it over again with a random girl, of course, it might actually mean a lot to our old guy here. Now, of course, the dance scene might also be a bit nasty because it does. This is also where he actually mentions the bed once again. And he actually wants the younger couple to dance. So his first idea is just to see them dance and to see with his own eyes how it used to be. But he actually ends up dancing himself, which I think that he's very happy about, actually. And it's actually the nasty thing about this is that he tells that, or the narrator actually tells us, he felt her breath on his neck. I hope you like your bed, he said. And the girl closed and then opened her eyes. She pushed her face into the man's shoulder. She pulled the man closer. You must be desperate or something, she said. So this is a very awkward scene, actually. And whether the old guy actually wants to hook up with her, we don't actually know. But he does talk about the bed once again. And then again, I mean, he might just be an old man who has a lot of feelings towards the bed and everything that used to happen in it. Or he might just be someone who actually wants to do a threesome with the younger couple. I have no idea. So it is actually clear that the whole dancing means a lot to the man. He tries to get them to dance. He does own a record player, which he willingly gives up and sells to them. So I think that he actually might believe that this record player used to be a big part of his life, and he enjoys the idea that it might be a big part of someone else's life now. And it seems to be some way of actually letting go, to accept what has happened to him, and to just end everything he's been through, the agony and the sadness that he might have survived. Now, to get a bit into the writing style of this text, it is clear that it is very minimalistic. We don't hear a lot about any details whatsoever, and the whole setting also, everything happens on the lawn and in the house apart from the ending. Which is very short. So most of the text takes place at this lawn. Only at the beginning we actually learn what setting are we in, but there isn't a lot of details that uncovers throughout the text. And also the narrator itself is not very helpful in giving away details and stuff like that. There is an example where the narrator says he looked at them as they sat at the table. In the lamplight there was something about their faces. It was nice or it was nasty. There was no telling. So these very few times that we actually get some kind of detail, we actually don't know what to do with the description. We have no idea if this is a nice or a nasty feeling. We do know something is off, but whether it's nice or it is nasty, we have no idea of knowing. So this happens throughout the text. We get very little detail, and most of the text is actually just talking. And the narrator only tells us like what everyone would have known if they watched the scene unfold. So to end it off, I want to talk a bit about some themes. I think the themes of the text might be something along the lines of old age or just loneliness in general, losing the ones you used to love. He might have lived his whole life with this woman, and as he is very old, he loses her and is suddenly alone. Or the theme might also be some kind of clash between young people and old people, or more specifically relationships. Because the couple is in a very early cycle of life compared to the old man, and he has actually lived what they are currently living. He's lived through it, and he looks back at those times with joy, I hope. So these might be a few themes of the text, and that is what I had to say about this text. I hope it was fulfilling and that the interpretation and analysis was on point. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.